Welcome, family, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. We really want to thank every single person that has subscribed to the channel. We appreciate, love you so much. Go ahead and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Special shout out to our Patreon family. We do have a book a week and also many other spiritual shows that have not appeared here yet. There might be even like 10 plus shows ahead. So definitely consider joining for as little as $2 a month. A lot of you have reached out to me and tried to say if I could do it like in Kenya with M-Pesa or something. We are developing our own platform for that. We'll let you know when it's ready. And thank you so much for wanting to support us, family. We appreciate, love you so much. Today, we wanted to talk about, the damage that Babylon education has done to Africa and continues to do to Africa. Because there was a division that was created, and many people, like seriously, family, when I share those 7 pillars of the Babylon system, each of them is so significant to the foundation, structure, and running of the Babylon system. Education is one of them. It's media, education, entertainment, economics, social services, hospitals, police, just social order, religion, and government. And for us to be even able to leave this Babylon system, we have to totally either bring down those pillars or replace those pillars with our own. And that's why you'll always see Babylon dabbling in our curriculums, in what we're teaching our children. Like the story I just did about Ghana, how the French sent over their experts to teach Ghanaians, or to develop a curriculum for Ghanaian children so that they could incorporate French and French stories and stuff. People don't realize that's one of the 7 tools of colonization, man, of domination. And what happened is there's someone who sent me a link. I really hope I'm able to find it and share it with you, which was talking about this professor. I think he looked like he was in his 60s or something, or 70s. And he was talking about how he, how his whole education, he'd gone from bachelor's, PhD, become a professor, even become a dean of a university in Babylon. And he was talking about how education never prepared him for the realities of Africa. Like it never prepared him for Africa. Like the world that the education prepared him for was only in Babylon. And that really hit me deep, especially when he said, before he had his awakening, he went back to Zimbabwe. He had been invited by Mugabe. And he went back to Zimbabwe and, and he was trying to look at how to do, I think they were trying to look at something with education, localizing education or something like that. And so he went and did a field study. And it's only then that he realized the kind of arrogance that people who receive that Babylon education have over their own people. Because everything about the education you receive not only makes you feel a bit superior, but it tells you everything about your people is wrong, is backwards, is primitive. So when you go in there, literally it clones you. When you go into someone's education system, it's like you're going into their cloning program. And so a lot of the highly educated Africans have actually come back to Africa and caused extreme damage among their people because of the brainwashing education that made them the best Babylon agents to come and implement the Babylon system perpetually forever. And that's the danger and damage of education, family. And then the fact that it's been made this thing which is like a prestigious thing, and if you get educated, you'll get out of the village, you'll get out of the slums, and this, you'll change your life and you'll live this, They've equated education to success, to money, to status, having a certain level of education. But you'll find that most educated people, they no longer understand their own people. They look down on them as the uneducated, because now they're in the elite club of educated. And these are the people who are CEOs, our presidents, our vice presidents, our prime ministers, our cabinet secretaries. These are the ones that are running the country across Africa. And you know what? Let me just show you how significant this is. So before Kenya gained independence, Babylon had already seen that was going to happen. And so they took a group of, already they started with the education institutions had been there, etc. So they took the brightest minds, the most charming ones of us, and they took them to Babylon. One of the most famous programs was the John F. Kennedy and one of our famous guys called Tom Boyer. And they were called, I think, the Kennedy Airlifts or Bonnie. I'm not sure, but they took our brightest minds, and these people were groomed to come back and take over leadership. And when I was doing my research, I got to interview a few of these people. And they talked about how, during the week they went to university. But over the weekend, some of them went to some secret society vibes, where a whole other education and indoctrination went on. And they were afraid to share this, but that influence. So when Babylon left, as I always say, they went through the front door, turned around and came through the side door. They made sure they left the system intact. So they were like, they didn't hand over to our African kings and queens, many of who they'd killed. They didn't hand over to our indigenous people. They handed over to these Western educated men and women. And some of them stayed in key positions to help with the transition. And already the educated had been brainwashed to think they were superior, they were more free, they were out of the primitive society, blah, de, blah, de, blah. So they were looking down on their people, including the people who had even fought for the liberation of this nation family. But you see, it wasn't handed to our indigenous, because you see, Babylon if you ever let Babylon control your freedom, you'll never be free or dictate the terms, because many of our freedom fighters actually went to Babylon to sign the agreements. Please look into the Lancaster agreements, because a lot of the British, at least former colonies, signed these Lancaster agreements. Kenya, Ghana are the two prime examples. And you see, the only people who could negotiate with them were the educated. So a lot of deals were signed behind the scenes. And there's something where, like, when you receive that Western education, you really do look at the Mzungu like they're a bit superior. So family, they handed over power to people that they had cloned to be like them. The quickest cloning they could do, which was education. Now they're cloning people for real. Bodies, suits and all. And so the problem with why Africa has never been able to find unity, peace, all these things, is because we're being ruled by clones. Education clones who really think Babylon is superior. The Babylon economics, because you see, anything, even if you want to get a PhD or anything, you have to get it through the channels of Babylon. So you have to use their theories, things that have already been approved, theories that have already been approved, PhD theses that have already been approved. That's the only place you can start to now bring your new knowledge or new information. So they trap us in their education matrix. And in the last 50, 60 years of being ruled by clones, education clones, they've been maintaining the Babylon system because that's what they were educated in. And they really do see the chiefs and the kings and the elders as primitive. So there has to be a total shift, family. Because these have been the most destructive, more than Babylon's germ warfare, more than Babylon's, mental warfare. The most destructive has been our own maintaining those structures. Doing economics the Babylon way in an African situation when it doesn't even make sense. Doing politics the Babylon way when that was never how we did it. We had consensus politics. It didn't matter if it took months or years, but everyone had to be on the same page before we could move forward. And some of the leaders who are leaders today would never have made it as any kind of, even the leader's assistant, because of just the corrupt nature they have and the greediness of their character. So if you're educated, family, and you're running a big organization or corporation, or you're involved in affecting the lives of even one African, you owe it to your ancestors and to your descendants to re-educate yourself and balance your education and recognize we had free energy. We had all the technology they had way before Babylon had it. So re-educate yourself on where all this has come so that you can approach your people with the right energy. And, by extension, I'm getting ready to finish, family, but by extension, this is what has also affected a lot of the people who have tried to return or to relocate to Africa to settle. One of their greatest barriers that works against them is this Babylon education. It acts as a major bar to entry, as a major obstacle. Because they'll come expecting, oh my God, my Wi-Fi is so slow, we had a blackout, blah, blah, blah. Like, they'll come, and it's deeper than that, family. But they'll come still in their clone mentality, thinking they're here to save Africa, to fix Africa, to raise up the people. No, Africans don't need to be saved, family. They just need to be woken up. If there's any way you're going to help, just wake people up by giving them the correct information. That's the only way you're going to do it. If you're going to wake people up, then wake them up by giving them the right information. That's the absolute only way you're going to do it, family. But as an educated person, check yourself, man. Not in a bad way. Because transformation is just in a twinkle of an eye. Until next time. Tuko pamoja.